Kome and the Five Fates has recently released, and with it has come a slew of changes, mostly for the pets, but the ones that we're going to be discussing are that of this titled video, Nova. She has gotten almost a complete rework, and I'm going to quickly go over the changes and get to the build for you guys. Let's start off with her passive. Her old passive was pretty useless. Whenever you got knocked down, it would knock down everyone within like a 15-meter radius, or maybe less than that. I think it was 5. It now says this: enemies killed while slowed down have a 15% chance to drop health orbs. Enemies killed while sped up have a 15% chance to drop energy orbs, which is fantastic. Moving on to Nullstar, they have finally made it recastable. They increased the base particle count from 6 to 12. 18 particles are still needed to maintain 90% damage reduction, but it's now much easier for players to hit the cap. Damage resistance from Nullstar now applies to both shields and health, which was previously only health, and that changes a lot of stuff when it comes to tanking in Warframe. Shield tanks have gotten even stronger from this change, because her Nullstar is her subsumable. Change the damage type from slash to blast damage with a guaranteed blast proc. The only downside to Nullstar from this change is, with the improvements, Nullstar when applied via Helminth is now altered and has its damage reduction capped at 75, just like Eclipse. Moving on to Antimatter Drop. They changed the damage type from radiation to blast with a 100% status chance, which makes Antimatter Drop a room clearer. You only need 5 shots to reach maximum absorption from Antimatter Drop. Antimatter Drop's explosion is now line of sight, so keep that in mind. They removed collision on Antimatter Drop's orbs, so it will no longer be exploded on allies. Moving on to Wormhole. They removed Wormhole's duration, which is the biggest thing here. Wormhole will now stay up indefinitely unless all of its charges have been used. They have added an icon above each portal, and whenever you hold the ability, it will display the exit point, something similar to Kalervo's Wrathful Advance. Moving on to Molecular Prime changes, and this is the second biggest change to her kit, other than Nullstar being like revolutionary for shield tanks. They've added a tap-hold functionality. Tap to cast the slow effect on enemies, and hold to cast the speed up effect instead. They increased the base slow and speed effect from 30 to 50. The bonus damage multiplier now applies to overguard health and shields. It was previously only applied to health. Speed up effects will bypass crowd control immunity, such as overguard, because it counts as a buff for the enemies, so that's nice. Killing primed enemies from your Molecular Prime have a 20% chance to proc blast on nearby foes. And those are the changes. Let's get over to the build. So this is the build. We've got Corrosive Projection, not because we need it, but because it's nice. We got Prime Surefooted, because I don't like being knocked down. You don't need it. It's entirely optional. Primed Redirection to get the most shields. If you don't have Prime Redirection, you can substitute regular Redirection in there. Arcane Aegis to constantly have our shields up, no matter what. Molt Augmented, because of course. We want to get the duration as high as you can. Roughly like 208 or 215 is pretty good. Your strength you really don't need any more than 155. Add a little bit of range for your Antimatter Drop, and we're going to swap out her 3 with Eclipse. That being, it makes her effectively an AFK tank, as long as her 1 and her 3 are up. That just about does it. Thank you everyone so much for coming and watching. Let me know what Warframe you want me to do a build review of down in the comments below, if any, and I will see you all lovely people next video. Bye bye.